In 1973, two young girls were found murdered behind a church in Seattle. The congregation knew the young women as local street kids, and with nowhere to go, they decided to take action. They sold their church's land to open Seattle's first overnight emergency shelter. YouthCare has grown from that 3-bed shelter to the community's leading service provider for homeless young people. Our mission is to build confidence and self-sufficiency for homeless youth by providing a continuum of care that includes outreach, basic needs, emergency shelter, housing, counseling, education, and employment training. Everything a young person needs to get off the streets and start preparing for life. Our goal is to get homeless young people off the streets and preparing for life, and all of our programs work towards that goal. Currently, we're bringing our expertise to youth homelessness prevention with a focus on family reunification and early intervention for young people who are at risk of homelessness. This includes outreach to youth inside of detention and those who are frequently absent from school. We recently launched a family reconciliation service that works with parents of teenagers at risk of running away from home. Since 2008, we've seen growing demand for mental health services as state and federal budget cuts have slashed available resources. Thanks to the Affordable Care Act, we are working with local providers to develop a new model of community-based mental health care for homeless young people to help them access appropriate services. YouthCare partners with other organizations to provide the most comprehensive services in the most efficient way possible. We started a collaboration of our region's runaway and homeless youth providers to develop common outcomes. We invest strategically in building capacity through the whole region and build a case for increasing support for our community's homeless youth. Our education and employment programs are unique and innovative, and they seek to break the cycle of homelessness. We believe that helping a young person involves more than the basic needs. We must help youth achieve healthy independence with the life skills, educational background, and employment history that will allow them to live independently. YouthCare has been the primary provider of services to runaway, homeless, and street-involved youth in the Seattle-King County area for more than 40 years. In that time, we've grown into an organization with a $12 million operating budget, employing 160 people. Over the years, YouthCare has added street outreach, transitional housing, drop-in services, employment skills training, and education. We've established ourselves as a national leader in providing culturally sensitive services to homeless and at-risk youth who are often beyond the scope of traditional social service programs. We have a history of developing innovative programming and successfully meeting the needs of our young people. YouthCare's overall goal is to help young people find stability and independence. All of our programs track 4 basic outcomes: improved housing, advancement toward their educational goals, placement in employment, and an improvement in the quality of life. We are developing an innovative regional tracking system to measure whether and how our young people are achieving these critical outcomes. YouthCare is very visible in downtown Seattle through our street outreach and our drop-in center. What people don't often realize is that we run 7 facilities throughout Seattle, ranging from an adolescent emergency shelter to transitional housing and employment and training programs that represent a full continuum of care for homeless young people. Six years ago, when I rejoined YouthCare as the executive director, we made an investment in our education and employment programs. What we knew then is that we must go beyond meeting basic needs to help young people move off the streets and to stay off the streets. Over the last 6 years, these investments have paid off, and we now have a robust offering of education and employment programs tailored specifically to the needs of our community's homeless young people. A young person can walk into our drop-in center ready to pursue a GED and get enrolled that very same day. In our employment training programs, youth earn an income while learning high-demand skills in construction, IT, customer service, and project management. Our greatest accomplishment is the creation of this true continuum of services that helps a young person move off the streets and prepare for life after homelessness. YouthCare's growing challenge is increasing capacity to respond to the growing need for services in our community. In 2009, we served 12,700 meals at our drop-in center. By 2012, we served over 27,000. Even after expanding our young adult shelter from 15 to 20 beds, we still turn away too many young people from safe, stable shelter each night. In this economy, our young people often find themselves last in line for employment, and this means that they need to rely on our services for longer and must work harder to become self-sufficient. Heartbreakingly, we are seeing the waiting list for our employment and training programs grow without the resources to expand as quickly as the demand. We're able to meet these challenges by drawing on our amazing volunteer base and by partnering where possible with other service providers. With additional resources, YouthCare would increase capacity in its education and employment programs. Homeless youth compete against peers who have had the benefit of consistent education, prior experience, and a community network. Their education has been radically disrupted, and they've had little opportunity to develop the work skills that make them attractive to employers. Without a high school diploma or a GED, and without the opportunities that YouthCare's employment and training programs provide, these young people will be last in line for employment. Right now, we are turning away young people from our employment and training programs at rates sometimes as high as 6 to 1. We believe that young people deserve these opportunities, and investment in these programs would help us meet this great and obvious need. Currently, there are no transitional living programs for boys under the age of 18 in Seattle, though this is a critical age group. We would like to be able to provide transitional housing for boys ages 16 to 18 with wraparound services and life skills training specifically designed for this population. We'd also like to expand into South Seattle, a geographic area that has historically been underserved. While many young people find their way to our drop-in center in downtown Seattle, there are many more in surrounding areas who would benefit greatly from drop-in services and employment and training opportunities in their home communities.